Thank you, dear viewers, and welcome to another episode of 15 Minutes in WAPSI, the dedicated program that gives an opportunity for civil society actors across West Africa to share perspectives about their work, their experiences, their challenges, and why not their successes. In the midst of COVID-19, our work has been affected greatly, of course, and interestingly, civil society organization has stayed relevant, resilient during these times. We will be talking to a colleague in Ghana from the Star Ghana Foundation to share with us what the foundation has been doing with its partners to ensure that civil society makes a relevant and significant contribution to respond to the impact of this pandemic on the life of Ghanaians. My guest for this session will be none other than the program officer of the Star Ghana Foundation, Ms. Safia Musa. Welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you very much, Jim.
And you are the Star Ghana Foundation, the leading civil society organization in Ghana and one of the very few indigenous grant-making organizations in the sub-region. What are you doing to ensure that civil society plays a role in responding to COVID-19 in Ghana?
Jim, you know, like you rightly mentioned, COVID-19, it took all of us by surprise. In mid-March, Ghana recorded its first cases, and for our sector, we took quite a while to understand what was going on and then to support actions in response to the pandemic. At Star Ghana, we are a center of active citizenship, and so for us, in every aspect of development, the role of citizenship is really critical to us. What did we do in this case? We approached our donors, the UKH and EU, and gladly we had funding. And with that funding, what we did was to mobilize some key civil society organizations in Ghana who have expertise in specific fields of development. And so with a partnership mix of 8, we designed a response mechanism. And that response mechanism is citizen-centered, so that for every kind of response to COVID-19, for us, the voices of citizens is really critical. For every response, the benefit at the end of the day should be the Ghanaian citizen who is most impacted by the pandemic. So with this project, this COVID-19 response project, we have 8 partners who are doing different things, all targeted at 4 key areas of intervention. So one of it, and very critically, is the area of ensuring that there's information in very accessible forms, very accurate and very reliable to citizens. What am I talking about? You know, when the pandemic hit, there was a lot of misinformation. The media space was flooded. Some of the information, one wasn't sure which was right or wrong. And yet, for some category of Ghanaian citizens, they were totally left out. The risk of, you know, considering the pandemic as an urban situation was really becoming very strong. So with our partners, one of them being Media Foundation for West Africa, we designed very innovative ways to ensure that fake news was addressed. And also working with our faith-based organizations, Caritas is one of our key ones there. We mobilized religious leaders and we recognize the role of our faith in this kind of, in this movement. One, the voices of faith leaders gave messages of hope to citizens. It gave them belief and trust that this was a movement that could be dealt with. Also, very importantly, it ensured that citizens complied with government directives, because sometimes faith could get in the way, but with their leaders involved, things really worked out very well. We're also looking at coordinating civil society and local level response actions. So actually in Ghana, civil society has set up a COVID-19 response trust. What that did was to mobilize resources from the local communities, from individuals, from organizations into a fund. And from that fund, direct services have been extended to persons with disability, to migrants who got stranded, and to all manner of persons in vulnerability. And for me, that is a new opportunity for local philanthropy in our country. We also looked at the key role of accountability and transparency in this response process. So one, government has put out a lot, government is devoting lots of resources into the fight against the pandemic and the impact of it. It might be an emergency, but ensuring that all of this happen according to the dictates of our democracy is really critical. And so we have partners who are looking at that, including CHAC and some others. And then finally, taking advantage of what is going on as civil society to learn and to document everything that has been going on. And you, WATSI, you've been very critical in this process.
That is quite fascinating. And I like, collaboration is yielding results. Now, but can you tell us what are some of the challenges that some of your partners and their extended partners, are doing, or are experiencing in terms of challenges in their effort to contribute to curb, the existence of this virus in our communities?
The challenges are quite real, So one, if you are operating in a space of restrictions and movement, what it means is that you are really limited in your reach and in how much citizens access your services. Whilst we have tried to adopt virtual means of working and using digital spaces, the reality is that for some of our services, they involve face-to-face contacts. There are still those very local level and community level interactions that have to continue. Unfortunately, that is really difficult. And so the risk of a chunk of citizens losing out of critical services is high. It's something we are still grappling with, getting the best ways around it. And there's also I mentioned earlier about civil society legitimacy and then taking our space. Luckily, we have tried to navigate, and then remain relevant in these times. But if we lose that opportunity of being innovative and taking our space, then the civic space minimizes. That would be really dangerous for the gains we have made in our country. So that challenge is there, and so challenging ourselves also to continue to find our space and remain relevant is one thing that we are working at. And then finally, I'll talk about the issue of access to information and then mistrust. Generally, like I mentioned, we have identified that coordination and joined up working is a way to go. But working with different levels of actors who would have different interests and all of that is real. And so that level of mistrust, if we don't get past it, then we are stuck. Let me not forget to mention the issue around funding. The donor space is quite funny during this period and really difficult to pin down whether we are making progress or in terms of fundraising generally, or we are stuck. For example, now a lot of donors are devoting funds to the fight against COVID-19, which is really great. And what that means is that they are reallocating, pulling funding from some sources into COVID-19. What that means, again, is that there's a risk that a very important aspect of development, several other important aspects might be suffering. I mentioned about community level work, sometimes even as basic as nutrition, literacy, those ones that people, organization, community, those ones, very, very basic ones that used to happen at the community level. There seems to be a hold on those ones. Community-based organizations, some are folding up, is a reality, because some have struggled to find their space and to find innovative ways to remain relevant. And funding to those sectors are really being shrunk at this point. So there are the real challenges. The interesting thing about the times we find ourselves is that the challenges are there, but within the challenges also lie the opportunities. Whereas this is the most trying moment for Ghanaian civil society organizations, that we cannot remain to be in our comfort zones, to get innovative, to think more broadly beyond what we have always been used to, and then find the opportunities within the challenges to be able to continue to deliver.
You know, you said something that actually struck me, and from the perspective of WACSI, where we see civil society organizations as indispensable players, you know, to champion the development agenda in our respective countries. When you talked about civil society organizations folding up, it really struck me to the marrow. And at this position, what message do you have for the different actors who are contributing, you know, to support the development agenda, particularly through these special purpose vehicles, the civil society organizations, the community-based organizations? What must we do to ensure that instead of these organizations folding up, they rather come out stronger and more active post-COVID?
Yes. I mentioned about one of our critical areas under our COVID-19 response project being creating platforms for learning for civil society. And one of the key actions we are doing there is forming a platform, a coordinated platform of civil society organizations that are responding to COVID-19. And we are recognizing that there's always a risk to work at the top in this kind of response programs. And yet we appreciate that the work that community level organizations are doing are as critical, and that their continuous survival is as important to the entire civil society space as those that seem to be doing well. So what do? We are trying to create linkages between the national and the local. So as the national continues to conduct advocacy actions and to work with government to ensure accountability, responsiveness, feedback from the local is really critical, and that is where the community level organizations have a role to play. So it has to be a deliberate, effort of collaboration through that vertical linkage. Also, donors, I can understand the donor space that everybody seems to still be trying to find our feet, but I think the message to donors is that there's so much community level organizations can do, and we need to be deliberate about it. It won't help very much if after COVID, in a few months or a few years, we turn around and our governance space becomes weakened because then we've lost the base. So we have to be deliberate about pulling everybody along. But for us ourselves as a sector, or whatever level, whether national, regional, or local, we just can't do things as usual. We have to be, innovative. We have to take our space. Sometimes you have to go for it. What is happening at the local level? Healthcare workers, get involved. Some have actually gone as far as mobilizing resources at the local level, and that's one opportunity. Local philanthropy has improved during this period. So all of those are opportunities to continue to remain relevant.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Leave no one behind. Carry everyone along. That is the key message. And thank you to Star Ghana for the great work that you are doing to ensure that civil society in Ghana stays active, relevant, in supporting governance efforts, particularly during the COVID-19 period.
Yes.
Dear viewers, you heard it all. If you enjoy these sessions produced by WACSI, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, share, like, and share your thoughts. You can be a guest on this platform. We will be very much happy to have you share your perspectives, share your experiences with other stakeholders. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay connected with us, and of course, we are the voice that we have to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it was nice talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.